Hi guys, this is Connie, back for some more Connie Reads Crenshaw. We are on part 2, which is going to start with chapter 18. Before we get there, it says, part 2. Mashed potatoes are to give everybody enough. A hole is to dig, a first book of definitions, written by Ruth Cross and illustrated by Maurice Sendak. Chapter 18. I guess becoming homeless doesn't happen all at once. My mom told me once that money problems sort of sneak up on you. She said it's like catching a cold. At first you have a tickle in your throat, and then you have a headache, and then maybe you're coughing a little. The next thing you know, you have a pile of Kleenexes around your bed, and you're hacking your lungs up. Maybe we didn't become homeless overnight, but that's what it felt like. I was finishing first grade. My dad had been sick, my mom had lost her teaching job, and all of a sudden, bam, we weren't living in a nice house with a swing set in the backyard anymore. At least that's how I remember it. But like I said before, memory is weird. It seems like I should have thought to myself, whoa, I'm going to miss my house and my neighborhood and my friends and my life. But all I remember thinking was how much fun living in our minivan was going to be. Chapter 19. We moved out of our house right after first grade ended. There was no big announcement, no goodbye party. We just sort of left, the way you abandon your desk at the end of the school year. You clean it out, but if you leave a few pencils and an old spelling test behind, you don't worry about it too much. You know the kid who has your desk next fall will take care of things. My parents didn't own a lot of stuff, but they still managed to fill our minivan. You could hardly see out the windows. I saved my pillow and backpack to load last. I was putting them onto the rear seat when I noticed something odd. Someone had left the back windshield wiper on, even though it was a sunny day. No rain, no clouds, no nothing. Back, forth, back, forth. My parents were packing odds and ends in the house, and Robin was with them. I was all alone. Back, forth, back, forth. I looked closer. The wiper was long and awfully hairy. It looked a lot more like a tail than a windshield wiper. I leaped out and ran to the rear. I saw the dent in the fender from the time my dad backed up into a shopping cart at Costco. I saw the bumper sticker my mom had used to cover the dent. It said, "I brake for dinosaurs." I saw the windshield wiper, but it wasn't moving, and it wasn't hairy. And right then, I knew the way you know that it's going to rain long before the first drop splatters on your nose, that something was about to change. That's the end of chapter 19. Let's see. These are still pretty short, so I'll add chapter 20 as well. When the minivan was packed, we stood in the parking lot. Nobody wanted to get in. "Why don't I drive, Tom?" said Mom. You were in a lot of pain this morning." "I'm fine," my dad said firmly. "Fit as a fiddle," whatever that means. My mom strapped Robin into her car seat, and we climbed into the minivan. The seats were hot from the sun. "This is only for a few days," said my mom, adjusting her sunglasses. 2 weeks tops," said my dad. "Maybe 3 or 4. "We just need to catch up a little." My mom was using her there's nothing wrong voice, so I knew something was really wrong. "Pretty soon we'll find a new apartment." "I liked our house," I said. "Apartments are nice too," said my mom. "I don't get why we can't just stay." "Oh. I don't get why we can't just stay." "It's complicated," said my dad. "You'll understand when you're older, Jackson," said my mom. "Play Wiggles," Robin yelled, squirming in her car seat. She loved the Wiggles, a group that wrote silly songs for kids. "First, a little hitting the road music, Robin," said my dad. "Then Wiggles." He slipped a CD into the car player. It was one of my mom and dad's favorite singers. His name was B.B. King. My mom and dad like a kind of music called blues. In a blues song, somebody's sad about something, like maybe they broke up with their girlfriend, or they lost all their money, or they missed a train to a faraway place. But the weird thing is, when you hear the songs, you feel happy. My dad makes up lots of crazy blues songs. Robin's favorite was Ain't No PB in My PB&J. Mine was called Downside Up Vampire Bat Boogie, about a bat who couldn't sleep upside down, like bats are supposed to. I'd never heard the B.B. King song my dad had chosen to play. It was about how nobody loved this guy except his mother. What's he mean about how even his mom could be jiving him, Dad? I asked. Jiving means lying. It's funny, see, because your mom and dad always love you. Except when you don't floss, said my mom. I was quiet for a while. Do kids always have to love their mom and dad? I asked. I caught my dad's reflection in the rearview mirror. He looked back at me with a question in his eyes. Put it this way, he said. You can be mad at someone and still love them with all your heart. We pulled out of the driveway. Aretha sat between Robin and me. She was only a few months old and still had her puppy-soft fur and clumsy paws. Our neighbor, Mr. Sarah, was cutting yellow roses from his garden. We'd already said official goodbyes. He waved, and we waved back like we were on our way to the Grand Canyon or Disney World. Does Mr. Sarah have a cat? I asked. A really big cat? Just Mabel, my mom answered, the Chihuahua with an attitude. Why? I glanced back at the rear windshield, but it was blocked by boxes and bags. No reason, I said. My dad cranked up the volume on B.B. King, who was still pretty sure nobody loved him, including his mom. Aretha cocked her head and howled. She liked to sing along, especially to blues songs, although she liked the Wiggles too. We drove a few blocks. My lower lip quivered, but I didn't cry. My mom sighed softly. Let the adventure begin, she said. And that's the end of chapter 20. Be careful with that and enjoy. Please and thank you, and I will see you for the next chapter installment. Have a good one.